Howdy, folks. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you folks, I have a new TTRPG video because today, got some news for you guys. It's been a little while since I've done kind of a news video, if you will, but it just came across to me today that White Wolf Publishing is making a return. Now, I want to point out there for anyone who hasn't been keeping scorecards, White Wolf Publishing was a publisher of a bunch of RPGs basically back in like the early to late 90s into the early 2000s. But essentially, Paradox Interactive would actually partner up with White Wolf Publishing back in 2015. And essentially by 2018, it seems like Paradox Interactive had pretty much taken complete control of White Wolf Publishing. Well, maybe not complete control, but held a majority of the cards. And essentially, White Wolf Publishing would be rebranded into World of Darkness. Now, World of Darkness on the TTRPG side of things did hold some creative control. But at the end of the day, Paradox Interactive had the final say so on anything related to even the TTRPGs as well as the video games, the licensing, etc. And yeah, there's actually been quite a few video games made over the years related to the World of Darkness stuff. That was essentially all created by White Wolf Publishing. But now it seems like White Wolf Publishing is going to be making a return. And well, I'll dive a little bit more into it here, but I want to take a moment and talk more about White Wolf Publishing to give people an idea of what is under their creative control. And probably the big ones, at least especially more recently, is like Werewolf the Apocalypse. There's been a video game. Actually, I think there's 2 video games now for Werewolf the Apocalypse. And then there's also been a few games made for Vampire the Masquerade. There's also Mage the Awakening. And actually, believe it or not, White Wolf Publishing back in the early 90s had a Street Fighter TTRPG. Actually, that I'm aware of, it's the only Street Fighter TTRPG out there. And even by the early mid 2000s, many people believed White Wolf Publishing could end up being a D&D killer. Now that wouldn't end up happening. And this was a different time too. You got to understand that Wizards of the Coast at the time just acquired Dungeons and Dragons from TSR, and TSR had gone out of business. And basically, when it came to things, the future of Dungeons and Dragons, things were quite a bit more rocky than they are now. And with all that being said, this is not just some rebranding scheme. As I dive more into it and I did more research about what was going on with Paradox Interactive and essentially World of Darkness or White Wolf Publishing, is that essentially White Wolf Publishing is now kind of separating itself and becoming independent again from Paradox Interactive. Now, it looks like, as I digged kind of deeper, is they're still partnered with Paradox Interactive, but essentially they hold the creative control. And when it comes to the TTRPG stuff, they are in 100% control of that now. They're also actually in control of the licensing itself again, which to me is huge because outside of the interactive side of things, like if they want to do shows or comic books or novels or whatever, they're going to hold the licensing. They're going to hold the final say of what kind of product is being put out when it comes to their World of Darkness setting. Now, on the video game side of things, well, Paradox Interactive is still going to do the video game side of things. They still kind of hold the licensing, if you will, for the video game series itself. But it's still kind of a partnered type deal. So it kind of seems like no matter which way you look at it, White Wolf Publishing is actually in control of the product, and they're going to have the final say so on the various different things when it comes to anything related to their setting. With all that being said, there's actually been some information released about Executive VP Marco Behrman's thoughts about the whole situation, and essentially it comes down to he's just excited and is very hopeful for the future of the World of Darkness settings. He's hoping that more content's going to be coming out, things of that nature. There's been nothing really released right now, or nothing really released on upcoming products, but essentially they're going to be moving forward. And basically, he has indicated that they're going to be pressing hard to get new, good quality content out for their World of Darkness setting. Now, I do have some opinions itself when it comes to the future of the TTRPG space, and mostly there's things that has me concerned about how things are going to go forward with the TTRPG space in itself at large. And I've discussed it in another video. I'm not going to discuss it here because it's a long discussion. There's a lot of subtle nuances and things of that nature to really get into, and I just don't want to waste my time with that. However, with all that being said, it's great to see White Wolf Publishing is going to be making a comeback, and it's great to see that they hold all the cards again and that they hold the creative control of the universe that they created for their TTRPG settings. In my personal opinion, I think it's great. We're going to have to sit back and wait and see what happens. But no matter which way you look at it, welcome back, White Wolf Publishing. It's nice to see that you're making a comeback to the TTRPG space, and here's hope for the future. Anyway, folks, hopefully you all enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of short, but I want to get it out there today, and hopefully you all enjoyed it. Thanks again for tuning in, and have yourselves a wonderful day.